Hello everyone. Welcome back to my channel General Hospital Diaries. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please subscribe and keep watching for more detailed videos. Today on General Hospital, Curtis' hit piece on Drew makes waves, Drew puts pressure on Portia, and Willow makes an accusation against Sasha. Dante and Chase hang out in the gym's steam room. Chase guesses by how Dante hit the bag earlier that things are better between him and Lulu. Dante admits they talked, and it was their first real conversation since she woke up. They had an honest discussion about Rocco, Charlotte, and Brooke Lynn. Chase is shocked the animosity between Brooke Lynn and Lulu is still there, and Dante agrees. He's decided not to get in the middle of their issues and focus on Lulu being back in their lives. Chase asks if there is any news on Charlotte and Valentin. Dante says he and Lulu were talking about Rocco, and something is clearly going on with him. And Lulu was worried he felt she was focusing too much on Charlotte. Chase says he and Rocco have gotten close, so he could talk to him as the fun uncle. At Rocco's age, it often is about girls. Dante recalls that he hated telling his mom about the girls he was dating. Their talk turns to Chase and Brooke Lynn wanting a family. Dante says he was a natural with Bailey, Lou, and Violet, so he knows Chase will be a great parent. Dante also lets him know he can always talk to him. Chase thanks him as their friendship is important to him. At Crimson, Nina meets with Jeffrey Beckett. Jeffrey is a wildlife journalist, and Nina is a big fan of his work. She has brought him on board to write for the Crimson Nature and Travel series. They sit down to chat before his photo shoot. Jeffrey admits that he doesn't get calls from fashion magazines, but Nina says Crimson is branching out to satisfy readers' interests, which include travel and nature. She asks how his wife or partner feels about him traveling so much. Jeffrey is single but feels he's going to meet someone soon. She decides to help adjust his tie in case someone special sees his photos. Ava arrives and interrupts. Ava recognizes Jeffrey as he was at a benefit at her gallery a few years ago for Joel Sardis. He recalls Ava and asks how she and Nina know one another. They explain they are good friends and have been through a lot together. Eventually, Jeffrey has to get going, but he hopes to talk to Nina again soon. Once alone, Ava jokes, someone has moved on from Drew. Nina says she has, but she doesn't think she's the rugged wilderness type. Nina asks Ava what's up, and Ava tells Nina, as she knows, she's been struggling with her finances. Nina assumes she's here to ask her for a loan. Ava hates asking for this type of favor, but Nina says she's been waiting for her to ask her, and of course she's happy to give her a loan. She also calls this a gift, not a loan. Ava won't allow that, as money can change friendships and she won't lose this friendship again. Liz brings Lucky home with her and continues to nurse him. Lucky says they are out of the hospital now, so she need not play nursemaid, but Liz says he needs to be watched for 24 hours, and he's stuck with her, given Kevin and Laura are working right now. As they move in for a kiss, the doorbell interrupts them. It's Carly bringing a care basket and asks how the hero is. Carly apologizes for barging in but wants to thank them for stopping Cyrus, who tried to kill Michael and did kill Sam and Dex. Carly asks Lucky what he's going to do now that he's home. Lucky has no plans, so Carly leaves them to enjoy her basket. Once alone, they get back to where they left off and kiss. That's when Aiden walks in and realizes he's interrupted something. Aiden raids the gift basket and learns his dad is staying here for the evening. Aiden is sad he's missing out on family time as he's staying at a friend's tonight. Lucky perks up at the idea that it will only be him and Liz. At Perks, Christina and Alexis read DeWitt's hit piece on Drew in The Invader, painting him as Congressman Cutthroat and detailing everything he's done against Tracy, the Quartermaines, and Cryptgate. Alexis wonders what Drew is thinking and how they can protect Scout from him. Laura meets with Curtis in his office not just about her upcoming press conference Aurora is covering, but the hit piece on Drew. She tells him, "Way to go," and they high-five. She says since he's taken office, all Drew does is pose for the cameras and abuse his power. Curtis says Drew's biggest weakness is his need to be seen as a hero. She thinks they could exploit that. Alexis arrives to see Curtis and Laura excuses herself. Alexis knows DeWitt won't retract his article, so she'd like him to run a more positive article on Drew through Aurora to balance things. She's worried how all this bad press will affect Scout. Curtis says Drew made his
However, he
bed,
tells
so
Alexis
Alexis
that
that instead of protecting Scout, she's enabling Drew. Back at Liz's place, Aiden eventually takes off, leaving Lucky and Liz alone at last. They finally get that kiss in. Things get passionate, which is when the doorbell rings again. Laura arrives to check on her son. She suggests now that she's free they could all have dinner tonight, and Lucky says that would be perfect. He and Liz smile at one another. Drew brings flowers to the hospital for Willow, and she says they should take them to the break room. He wonders if the article got to her and if she's ashamed to be seen with him. Willow says the invader is nothing but lies, and it's just that she feels like all eyes are on them, so they shouldn't draw extra attention to themselves. Willow asks if he knows who is behind the article. Curtis doesn't, but he has his suspicions. Later, Christina arrives to see Willow and has a favor to ask. She was video chatting with Michael, and he misses the kids. She hoped she could take some videos of the kids with messages for their dad to send to Michael. Willow thinks the kids would love to do it, and she thanks her for keeping her in the loop about Michael. She just asks her not to say anything negative about Drew in front of the kids, and Christina assures her she won't. Carly soon arrives to see Willow, and is concerned about the negative press about Drew and how it will affect the kids. Willow says she'll let the kids know it's not true, but Carly says it is, and Drew's sunk to a new low. Drew appears and warns Carly to leave Willow alone. Carly lashes out at Congressman Cutthroat, but Drew says he is not in the wrong and the Quartermain crypt has to be moved. Carly reminds him how hurt she was when they were going to move Virginia's grave, and he was there for her. She says now he's doing the same thing to the Quartermains. She says if he keeps this up, he'll be facing a recall. Willow defends Drew, saying Tracy is no saint either. Carly realizes there is no point in trying to have a calm conversation with Willow and walks off. In Portia's office, Rick says he's looked into her situation, which is much worse than he thought. Rick explains that because these test results were tied to Heather's criminal trial, she could face jail time for evidence tampering. Rick says her only chance is to play by Drew's rules, but Portia fears Drew is about to expose her today. She tells him about the article in The Invader and fears it's all over for her. Rick says she could convince Drew that Curtis had nothing to do with the article, or she could tell Curtis everything and save her marriage. Portia thinks she can save both. Portia calls Curtis and leaves a message, asking him to stop by her office as it's important. On his way out, Rick runs into Christina and tells her that the trip she planned to take with Avery over spring break is not happening. He says the ballet falls on Ava's day with Avery. Christina pleads that this is a one-day special event, and the tickets were hard to get. This will upset Avery, and are they really going to hurt Avery to punish her? Rick says that next time she should check the calendar and walk off. Carly arrives at Nina's office as Nina's talking with Ava. Carly says they need to speak, and it's important. Ava tells Nina that it's okay and they can talk later. Once Ava is gone, Carly says they need to put their plan for Drew and Willow in motion now. Nina asks what she proposes they do. Carly says they have to do whatever it takes to keep Willow and the kids from moving with Drew. They also need to get into Drew's house and find undeniable evidence against him that will convince Willow that he is not to be trusted. Nina asks, what if there is nothing to find? Carly says that they'll make sure there is something to find. Back at the hospital, Willow finds that Sasha is her next patient. Sasha can tell Willow has a problem with her, so she tells her to spit it out. Willow asks Sasha how she can be such a hypocrite. She says Sasha dated Michael and is pregnant by his other uncle. Sasha says their situations are nothing alike. Willow thinks things didn't work out with Michael and his money, so she went after Jason's cash. Sasha points out she went from one Quartermain to another, and she thinks that article on Drew is really getting to her. She blew up her life, marriage and family for a sleazy politician. Drew arrives at Portia's office and is disappointed in her. He thought she could help him, but Curtis was behind the article in The Invader. Portia tries to convince him it wasn't him and that Curtis could have used a reputable source to run such an article rather than go to a rag. Drew suggests she convince Curtis to run a series of positive articles on him. She warns him she's gone to bat for him already, and if she does any more, it will tip him off. Plus, if Curtis finds out he's blackmailing her, it will send Curtis to another deal they can make. He suggests a joint press conference, one with him talking about his new pediatric sports project and her representing the hospital. Curtis will be forced to give him good press. Curtis arrives, finally having gotten his wife's message, and asks Drew, "What the hell are you doing here?" Ava arrives home to find Christina waiting outside her door. Christina says she ran into Rick and found out she can't take Avery to the ballet and thinks this is about punishing her. Ava says Avery is still going to the ballet, only she's taking her. Christina calls her a bitch. Rick appears and tells Christina to watch it and to remember what happened the last time she went after Ava. Christina tells them there is a special place in hell for them and walks off. On the next General Hospital, Carly meets with Maxie, who asks Carly, "What type of commitment are you looking for?" Willow tells Sasha her baby may have been the best con she's pulled. Drew explains to Curtis he was making a business proposal to Portia. Anna and Jason travel home with Charlotte, and Anna and Jason discuss Carly's relationship with Jack. Drew brought flowers to Willow at the hospital. When she wanted to bring them to the break room, he wondered if the Invader article about his beef with Tracy caused her to be embarrassed to be seen with him. Willow was sure that the article was full of lies and didn't impact her at all. He said he suspected he knew who was behind the article. Later, Carly approached Willow at the nurse's desk and said she was worried that Wiley would hear about the negative press about Drew in school. Willow said it was all lies. Carly explained the article told the truth. Drew showed up and asked Carly if she ever minded her business. Carly called him Congressman Cutthroat and reminded him about what happened when her adopted mother's grave had to be moved. He said it was different because he was trying to keep his place in the family and Tracy was trying to strip that away from him. "Using your position in Congress is not the way to do it," Carly retorted. Meanwhile, Sasha was in a hospital exam room. Willow came in and was shocked to see her. "If you have a problem with me, just say it," Sasha said. Willow asked how she could be such a hypocrite. Sasha thought it was funny coming from Miss Goody Two-Shoes. Willow clarified that Sasha was a hypocrite because she got pregnant by Michael's other uncle. Willow reminded Sasha that her mother was a con artist and Sasha reminded her that she and Michael had broken up ages ago. Willow then speculated that if Sasha couldn't get Michael's money, did she move on to Jason to get his money? Sasha told her the article made Willow feel that she had thrown her life away. "You blew up your life and your family over a sleaze and you can't admit that you were wrong," Sasha declared. In her office, Nana praised wildlife journalist Jeffrey Beckett for his amazing articles. He said he liked exploring untouched areas in nature, and she said that the Crimson Nature and Travel series was where he belonged. She then complimented him, saying that for someone who walked through the wilderness all the time, he cleaned up very nicely. He was delighted to be spotlighted in a fashion magazine. She asked him if he was worried about getting hurt because he hiked all these wild places alone. He said he had previously been an ER doctor, so he figured he could handle anything. She asked if he had a wife or partner, and he said he didn't but felt he was going to meet someone special soon. "We just never know that someone special's gonna see your photo," she said as she adjusted his tie. Ava soon arrived. She had met Jeffrey previously at her art gallery. Later, after Beckett left, Ava commented on Nina moving on from Drew, and Nina asked, "Can you see me with a rugged wilderness man?" Ava soon mentioned her financial troubles, and Nina asked her what took her so long to ask for a loan. Ava wanted to work out a payment schedule, but Nina didn't want to do that. Ava worried money would mess up their friendship. Carly soon barreled in, ready to roll with Drew and Willow. "We need to put our plan in motion now." Carly explained that Nina needed to continue stalling Willow, adding, "Whatever it takes to stop her from taking those kids and moving in with Drew." Carly felt that deep down Willow knew it was a bad idea and they just had to keep at her. Then they could work on exposing Drew. "We have to get into his house and find something so undeniable that Willow will never look at him the same again," Carly said. Nina asked what if there was nothing to find, and Carly said they needed to make sure there was. In the boxing gym steam room, Chase wondered if Dante had reconciled with Lulu because at the gym he wasn't hitting the punching bag as hard as he usually did. Dante explained that he and Lulu ended up babysitting Bailey Lou, and they were both surprised that Brooklyn and Lulu hadn't gotten past their feud already. Dante didn't want to be in the middle of the women anymore and just wanted to focus on the fact that Lulu was back. Dante then told Chase that something was up with Rocco. Chase referred to himself as the fun uncle and was willing to talk to the teen. Dant said, "Funkle, go for it." Elizabeth brought Lucky to her house because he needed another 24 hours of care. They almost kissed until Carly showed up with a giant basket to thank them for helping uncover evidence on Cyrus. After she left, Lucky wanted to have a date with Liz utilizing the basket. They got close again and finally kissed, but then Aiden walked in. When Aiden left again, he smiled, saying it was nice to see them together again. Liz and Lucky started kissing once more until Laura showed up. She was checking in on how Lucky was doing and offered to take them to dinner. They awkwardly agreed. Christina read a newspaper article to Alexis that shed light on Drew's bad behavior. The article further told the whole story of how Drew wanted to exhume his beloved family members and have them moved. Alexis asked, "What the hell was he thinking, and how do we protect Scout from it?" Alexis realized that she couldn't have the article retracted and wondered if there was another way to protect Scout. Laura was happy that Curtis published the article about Drew and gave him a high five. She told Curtis that since he got elected, Drew hadn't done anything that he campaigned on. "All I have seen him do is pose for the cameras and abuse his powers," she said. Curtis said Drew needed to be regarded as a hero, so Laura felt they could use that weakness to get him to actually act like a hero. Rick visited Portia's office with news. "Is it as bad as I think it is?" she asked. "It's worse. Much worse," Rick replied. He said that if it was simply altering tests, she could have just lost her job, but because it affected Heather's trial, she could be seeing some jail time. He told her she could be charged with things like fraud, criminal negligence, and obstruction of justice because Heather could have remained in prison by being falsely accused. He advised Portia to keep doing Drew's bidding. She told him about the damaging article about Drew and that he would suspect Curtis was behind it. She tried to argue that Drew's blackmail was illegal, but Rick countered that she couldn't expose him without exposing herself. She worried about everyone finding out and she wouldn't be able to hide from it. He told her she could either convince Drew that Curtis wasn't behind the article or she could just come clean with Curtis. Christina approached the nurse's desk and told Willow she needed a favor. She explained that she had a video chat with Michael and asked if she could make messages and videos from the kids to make Michael feel better. Willow agreed but explained that the only stipulation was that Christina not mention anything negative or mention Drew at all. Rick spotted Christina at GH. When she tried to walk away, he asked if she had gotten a message from her father about Avery. He told her their trip to the ballet was not going to happen. When Christina asked him why, he said because her plans fell on an Ava day. Christina suggested swapping a day with another day. Rick said it was too early in the custody to do that, and she should have checked her calendar before making plans. A busy Drew also paid a visit to Portia's office and said he was disappointed in her. "I thought that you could get Curtis to see some reason and move on from hating me, but instead I find out that my good friend Curtis is the one behind the scathing article in The Invader," he said. Portia claimed that she didn't think that it was Curtis. She also argued that Curtis has Aurora, so why would he use a ragtag paper like The Invader when he has reputable sources at his fingertips? Drew then asked her to convince Curtis to run articles through Aurora Media that favored Drew, like ones focusing on him being an ex-Navy SEAL, a family man, and a good congressman. She said that defending him to Curtis anymore would tip him off. "That would be unfortunate for you, but I'm willing to take the risk," he said. She told him that if Curtis found out he was blackmailing her, Curtis would go to a whole nother level. Drew suggested that Portia stand with him when they unveiled his special program at the hospital. Alexis went to Curtis and asked him to write an article about Drew that was more balanced and would improve his image. He asked why he would do that, and she said she was worried that the public would turn on Drew and Scout. Curtis said he was sympathetic to Scout's situation, but it was Drew who made himself look bad, not the article. He valued her friendship but couldn't help her this time. He said that by not holding Drew accountable, she wasn't helping him, but instead and Christina was waiting outside for her. Christina told her about the ballet, and Ava reiterated that it fell on her day and they didn't want to confuse Avery. When Christina started to say that Avery was going to miss out on a memory of a lifetime, Ava explained that the owner of the theater was a friend of hers and she got tickets and was going to take Avery herself. Christina started to get angry, then Rick showed up and stopped her. Before she walked away, Christina said, "There's a special place in hell for both of you. Come back to our channel for all your updates. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to my channel.